What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel for another tactical masterpiece from the amazing GYR. And I know what you're thinking first of all. Steve, what on earth do you sound like? Yes, I'm ill. I will be getting this tactic out so that you guys can try it in your saves. It is the Volante Victory. There are two massive differences this year with this tactic because of how powerful those Volantes can be. If we take a look at the shape in game, we are using Napoli for this particular test, but you can see we've got the two defensive midfields sat here and they are both Segundo Volantes. Now what this tactic does really well, I'm going to play some clips of this tactic over the top, see some of the goals so that you guys can see what is going on. Basically with the Volantes, they sit nice and deep, so they offer that option for the centre backs and the full backs to progress the play into the midfield. They're always there because they're sat just in front of them, but what they do even better is burst into the opposition half and ultimately into that final third and create that penetration and that extra number of players surrounding the penalty area, giving options left, right and centre for back passes, cutbacks, all sorts of things. The defensive midfielders are definitely there. So this is what the game says about the Segundo Volante. Both of these are Segundo Volantes on support function, and this is what FM23 says about that position. The Segundo Volante is different from the deep line playmaker in that their role is primarily a defensive one, best suited to being paired with an anchor. Also, it is different from a ball-winning midfielder in the fact that they often run with the ball or arrive with a late run into the opposition area, much in the same way as a box-to-box midfielder or a central midfielder does. You get that defensive output from this position, but also the ability to bomb forward is so good in this tactic. And building around that, you've got a player in the central attack midfield spot, you've got a player up top, you've got the two players out wide giving you that width. In testing with this, we tested this tactic with a couple of different teams. First and foremost, we're going to talk about Manchester City. We always test things with an elite tier team just to see how they get on, because if they can't use the tactic successfully, why would any other team be able to use the tactic successfully? Man City did go on to win absolutely everything, as you would expect, and achieved over 100 points in the Premier League. We also tested this a little bit further down with Plymouth Argyle. They went all the way and won League One relatively comfortably. I believe they were 10 points clear of the team in second, and also had a very nice cut run where they ultimately did lose to Manchester City. And I wanted to touch on this tactic test with Napoli that we did. Not only did they win Serie A, they also won the Coppa Italia. However, this is made even more impressive because I'm sure the eagle-eyed of you will have noticed Raspadori is the top goal scorer at the club. That is because I didn't notice whilst we were simulating through the season. The board sold Victor Osimhen to Chelsea in January for 86 million pounds, I believe it was 86 million pounds, just after Osimhen had scored 15 in 12 in Serie A, 19 and 18 in all competitions for Napoli before going to the Premier League. Some other stuff that you guys like to see on here in terms of the general performance, we're averaging, we're scoring 2.87 goals per game. The expected goals per game on this one with Napoli in this test was 2.35, conceding a lot less than that, which is really nice as well. The expected goals per game is still under 1. You're getting a decent number of shots per game as well compared to the average in Serie A this year, and we're getting a decent percentage of those on target, 43.74%. But I know what you guys are here for. You're here for the breakdown of the tactic, and this is GYR's Volante Victory. Now, if we reveal the roles, you can see everything here. I'm going to go through position by position so that you guys can get this tactic in your game. And if you do like the tactical stuff, guys, please do drop a like on the video down below. Subscribe to the channel if you are new around here, and whilst you're in the description, go and check out GYR, the man who produces these tactics, because all of his links will be down there as well. In terms of these positions though, let's go through and break things down. In net, we have a sweeper keeper on defensive function. They have the additional instructions on them of take fewer risks and tackle harder. So you can add these additional ones, guys. If you click on the edit button here, the tackle harder one is there, and the take for your wrist one is there. You just select them that way. You know which ones are the additional ones and the ones that come with the role. The additional ones are the ones with the white cog and the red circle next to it. Now, moving into the defense, we have inverted wingbacks on attack. A very popular role in FM22 is now being transitioned slowly into FM23. I'm seeing it in a few more tactics. GYR bringing it into this one. So inverted wingbacks on attack on both sides, left and right, with the additional instructions of shoot less often and tackle harder. Then moving into the centre back pairing, you have one ball playing defender on defensive duty on the right hand side with shoot less often, stay wider and tackle harder as the additional instructions on this guy. Then you have the centre back on defence next to him with the additional instructions of pass it shorter, stay wider and again tackle harder. Now this is what the tactic is all built about, because these guys, the inverted wing backs, will push into the spaces left by the volantes as the volantes push up the field as well. So you're not being overly exposed in the middle. The wingers on either side will add that balance and add that width. So that is where your width is coming from here in these winger positions. But let's talk about these two Segundo volantes, because they are slightly different. The one on the right hand side has the additional instructions of take more risks, dribble more, shoot less often, get further forward and tackle harder. The one on the left hand side has the additional instructions of take more risks, dribble more and tackle harder. Now I said about these wide players, guys, these are the ones that add the width to the tactic. On the right hand side we have a winger on attack. The additional instructions are shoot less often and tackle harder. On the left hand side, shoot less often, close down more and tackle harder as well. In front you have an advanced playmaker on attack duty. No additional instructions on this guy. This is going to be the creative player in your team. Jack Grealish was actually very good in this position, as was Phil Foden in the test with Manchester City. Then up top we have the advanced forward on attack duty with no additional instructions on him. In terms of the tactical style, guys, it can be anything you want here. If you're on PC, just hit clean slate and it will build the tactic exactly the same as Gareth has intended. If you just hit gegenpress or tiki-taka or whatever, it doesn't really matter too much. In terms of the mentality, guys, it is an attacking tactic, but it is pretty good defensively as well. If we go on the in possession instructions, this is how we're looking. A fairly wide attacking width, passing into space, and we are playing out of defense as well. Our passing directness is shorter, and we are playing at a higher tempo. In terms of things into the final third, we are doing low crosses into the final third and we are working the ball into the box and we are running at the defense in terms of our dribbling preference. In transition, this is how we're looking. We are counter pressing when the possession has been lost. We are countering when possession has been won, and we are also distributing to the fullbacks and throwing it long as our distribution type. Out of possession, this is how we're looking. We've got a high press, a high line of engagement, and a standard defensive line. So hopefully you don't get beaten with too many of the balls over the top. We are triggering that press much more often, and we are preventing that short goalkeeper distribution as well. If you are on PC or on Mac, there is a link in the description to FM Scout where you can download and import this tactic yourself. If you are on mobile or anything like that, please do follow the instructions that we have said there. Do bear in mind, guys, this is a slightly different formation, so the tactical familiarity, if I quick pick the best 11, it will look something a little bit like this. We have still got a few players who aren't fully competent with it, and that is with the whole season as well, guys, so please do bear that in mind. Don't expect to plug this bad boy in and it to work first game. Ideally, if you can, give it a full pre-season and then let us know how you get on with it. As I mentioned though, guys, please do go and show GYR some love. His links will be down in that description as always. Until next time, guys, if you like more tactics, check out this playlist. It's all of the tactics that Gareth has released in this year's game cycle so far.